All right, let's just dive right in. Today we're tackling a big one, how you can actually, finally, make those huge goals for 2026 happen. I'm talking about moving beyond just wishing for things and getting into the real, nuts and bolts strategy of turning a vision into something you can actually see and feel.
You know the drill, right? It's January. You're all fired up. This is the year. The year you finally start that business, get in shape, launch that podcast. You make these massive, exciting promises to yourself, and then, boom, February hits, the excitement is gone, and so are the goals. Sound familiar?
Well, if that's you, you are definitely not alone. Get this, a study found that only 1% of New Year's resolutions actually make it through the entire year. Just 1%. Now, this isn't because we're lazy or we don't want it badly enough. It's because our dreams are often built on the shaky ground of excitement, not on solid systems. And that, right there, is the entire game.
So here's the core idea we're unpacking today. Real achievement isn't about sitting back and waiting for the universe to drop success in your lap. No, it's an active process. It's about two things. First, rewiring your inner world, your mindset, your emotions, and second, building an outer world of systems that basically make success the default option. You don't attract what you want, you attract what you build a system for. Okay, so let's start with that first piece of the puzzle, rewiring your inner world. Because look, before you can change anything out there, you have to get things right in here. A new beginning doesn't magically start on January 1st. It starts the second you decide to stop dragging old energy into brand new opportunities. You know, psychologists actually have a name for this. It's called cognitive closure, and it just means you can't really start a new chapter if you haven't closed the book on the last one. So often we just rush into a new year still carrying all the baggage from the old one, the missed goals, the letdowns. You've got to consciously put an end to last year's stories so your energy has a new place to go. Just ask yourself, what am I done carrying? Now here's a really powerful shift. Instead of a super rigid goal, try choosing a single word for the year. This word becomes like a psychological anchor. So if your goal is to start a business, maybe your word is build. If you want to get healthy, maybe it's discipline. Or if you're dreaming of starting a podcast, it could be voice. See, a word gives you a direction to sail in, without the pressure of hitting a specific destination on a specific day. And listen, this isn't just some nice, fluffy idea. It's actually backed by science. A Stanford study found that people who framed their goals around their identity, like who they were becoming, were 65% more likely to stay consistent than people who just focused on a to-do list. Your word becomes your compass for every single decision you make.
And the last piece of this inner work is all about visualization, but probably not the way you think. Most of us just picture the finish line, right? The money, the applause. But your brain actually responds to emotion, not just pretty pictures. A University of Chicago study showed that visualizing the process, the gritty details, the early mornings, the feeling of uncertainty, the little wins, that increases success rates by a whopping 42%. You have to feel what it's like to do the work, not just dream about being done.
Okay, so once your inner world is pointed in the right direction, it's time to build the external structures to hold it all up. This is where your intention meets your infrastructure. A dream without a plan is just a wish, and this is the planning part. I absolutely love this quote from James Clear because it's just so true. You can't manifest a killer business without a system for testing your products. You're not going to launch a hit podcast without a non-negotiable recording schedule. Your habits, your calendar, they have to be in alignment with your calling. If they're fighting each other, the goal will always feel impossible.
A massive part of building these systems is just designing your environment. We fail not because we lack willpower, but because we're constantly testing it. Think about it. If your goal is to eat healthier, but your kitchen looks like a snack food aisle, you're just setting yourself up to fail.
And the same logic applies to everything. If you need to do deep, focused work, but your phone is lighting up and buzzing on your desk, you're fighting a battle you're probably going to lose. The goal isn't to try harder, it's to design smarter. Make it easier to do the right thing.
And that goes for your most valuable resource, your time. Your calendar is a part of your environment too. If you want to grow your business or learn a new skill, that time has to be blocked out, protected. Success isn't about finding some magical source of motivation. It's about creating an environment and a schedule where the right actions are the path of least resistance.
And whatever you do, please don't try to build this world by yourself. A Harvard Business Review study found that people who share their goals with a supportive community have a 76% higher chance of achieving them. Now, this isn't about posting on Instagram for validation. It's about finding a small, trusted crew that can hold you accountable. Isolation keeps you stuck. Shared momentum is what pulls you forward. So, you've rewired your inner world and you've built your outer one. The final piece of the puzzle is mastering the day-to-day journey. This is all about navigating that messy middle part, which, let's be honest, is where most people give up.
There are really 3 keys here. First, break that all-or-nothing cycle. So you missed a day at the gym? So what? Just go tomorrow. Progress happens in the messy middle. Second, learn to work with resistance, not against it. Fear and doubt are totally normal. They're just feedback, not a stop sign. And third, use gratitude as your fuel. Seriously, celebrating the tiny wins releases dopamine, and that's the chemical that will keep you going long after that initial New Year's excitement is gone.
So let's bring this all home. At the end of the day, it really boils down to this one powerful idea. You can't just hope your life gets better. The universe doesn't respond to wishful thinking. It responds to who you're being, to the clear energy you put out there, and to the actions you take over and over again. So if you only take one single thing away from all of this, let it be this formula. Remember that 1% of people who actually succeed? This is their secret. It's your clear intention, that's the inner rewiring, plus solid infrastructure, your outer systems. You put those two together, and that's what creates your reality. You don't hope for goals, you build a system that makes them inevitable. It's that simple and that profound.
And all of this leads us to the final and maybe the most important question you can ask yourself. The focus shifts from what do I want to achieve to something much deeper. Who am I willing to become to achieve it? Because the person who launches that successful business starts acting like a founder long before the business even exists. Your identity is what drives your action. 2026 won't magically change your life, but you can. So who are you willing to become?